Hello, am I live? I'm not actually sure if I'm live. If you guys can hear me, drop a, um, type in chat or something. Right, nice. What's up, everybody? Just give me a short moment to get myself set up and, we can get this rolling. Right, so let's just kick this off. Before I dive into, let me just finish up this coin right here that I'm looking at, just near before I start getting into everything, because this is honestly looking quite interesting. Going to set an alert here though. I think something like this could work, targeting that range high over there. It's a 50% swing trade right there. So I've set an alert. I'm gonna call it if it comes back, but before anything else, let's just dive into a sort of Bitcoin analysis, and I'll tell you what I think about Bitcoin, and what to expect heading into the week. So first things first, you do not want to be like for real. You do not want to be like trading during the weekends, right? I'll just explain that really quickly. Members of the private Discord group would know this, but for most of you, here's the explanation. So these two blue lines over there, that's Friday's high, right? If you go look at the date down there, right, pay attention to the date. That's Friday's high, and that's Friday's low right there, right? Or you could argue that's Friday's low, but for all intensive purposes, let's just use that. So the reason why I bring this up is this is an observation that was done by one of my, not to say my, but like one of the moderators in the art of the private Discord group. And full credit goes to this guy. His name is Dean, and if he had socials, I would definitely shout him out, but big shout out to him regardless. So his observation was every time you go into the weekends, right, you tend to stay within Friday's high and Friday's low. So in this instance, we would not expect the weekend range to go beyond 42k or below 38.4k. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because it is oftentimes very easy to identify what is the real move heading into Monday's open and the rest of the week just by identifying what happens during the weekend range. I'm going to give you guys an example. And right here, this piece of info that I'm sharing right now is going to just Dean is a legend, so this is for free to you guys watching the stream, but this is like key information. You're not going to hear this in many other places, right? If we go back to the last month, the last Friday, which was, if I'm not mistaken, let me just check it for a moment. So last Friday, I think last Friday's high was there, right, at 4,300-ish, and Friday's low was over there at about 38,000. So you can see what happens when, notice how during the weekends, you mostly stay within the range. And then heading into Monday, right, this is Monday or Sunday, you break below Friday's low. Notice this, right? That's called clearing liquidity below Friday's low, right? You're clearing out people who are going long here or people who have stops set over here. That was the rationale behind why I said that during Monday, during the Bitcoin video that I made. That's the rationale behind why I said it was going down. The only thing is, I should have seen this coming. I should have seen this pump coming. Only thing was, I was playing around with this thing called heat maps last week, and that's the thing about trying out different trading tools and trading, just trading styles, right? I've never used a heat map before. but I was giving it a try last week. So, trying out the heat map, I was like, oh, look at this. You got support over there. I was looking at high block with its liquidation levels, and just lots of different things clouded my judgment of what was actually going to happen. But now that I've went through this experience, I know for a fact that hey, just stick to the things that It's good to experiment with new things, but keep the experiments as experiments, which means preferably not talk about it until I really find a system that works with the explanation. That new trading style. So stick to the stuff that I know. I know that if during the weekends you take out Friday's low, then very likely the real move, right? I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter. Let me just bring up my Twitter so that I can show you guys a post that I did. And for those of you who are not following me on Twitter, you really want to do so. Anyways, let me just go down a little bit. Check it out, right? False move Mondays, right? I talk about this. False move Monday, because the first move of Monday always tends to be the false move. The real move tends to show itself after the false move. Hence, false move Mondays. Midweek reversal Wednesdays, right? Just to reinforce this idea, I posted this on Wednesday, right? Today is Wednesday. I posted that on Wednesday. Check it out. The high of the week actually came on Wednesday. Midweek reversal, right? This is something that market makers do all the time. The sooner you realize this pattern, the better off you're going to be. So, long story short, right? Midweek reversal. Basically what that means is that the high of the week tends to come usually before Wednesday or on Wednesday, right? Check it out. That's the high of the week right there. You do not expect that high of the week to get attacked until next week, which is tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is the first New York Open, which is on Monday. That is just a very simple explanation. And lastly, irrational FU moves Fridays, right? If you go back in time, you can see that most irrational moves where you go straight up or straight down tends to happen on a Friday. Right? That's because people know that, hey, people are starting to relax. That's when the market makers really go and catch you off guard with, an irrational move, right? As long as you remember this, right? This is the trifecta right there. And of course, I don't need to mention this because I've mentioned this a bunch of times on my YouTube channel already. So weekends, you just stay in a range basically. So weekends are not, prime trading days. Heck, assuming you understand that Friday's low is going to get taken out before the real move happens on, Monday, then I wouldn't really be too excited about getting into market longs right here. Like, look at the volume, right? It's tiny. I don't even need to bring up the volume to show you this, but check it out, right? Once you head into the weekends, no volume. When there's no volume, you do not have institutional sponsorship, so you're basically just trading against algos that are trying to keep things in a range. So it's not going to end up well for you if you trade during the weekends. This is why I always live stream on the weekends to plan out ahead what I'm planning to do for during the week. Identify some coins that I might be interested in and map them out, map out some key levels on those coins, and then when it comes into the week, I'm like, hey, I'm prepared. I've taken a look at a number of coins and this is what I'm going to do, right? I'll set some alerts. That is how I usually treat weekends, right? It is a time of learning, planning, and reflection. So I highly encourage all of you guys to go with that mindset as well. It will help you a lot in your trading, just career. So with that out of the way, now that you understand why I mention heck, now I'm going to explain why I talked about that stuff, because it's important for what's going to come next. So, in my opinion, since I've already mapped out Friday's high and low for you, which is at 42k and about 38.4k, then currently my theory is that before the New York Open on Monday, you're going to take out Friday's low right there, and then during the Monday, Open, you're going to go, that's going to be the real move. So if you see a liquidity perch down low, it doesn't even need to stop, just below here, right? You can stop below this low right here because you have a low over there. Sadly, I can't zoom in. But currently, this is how it stands. This is my, this is my idea heading into the weekly open. Of course, you can go back down to 36k, because let me just try to bring up the, shit, I can't bring up the heat map. But heat map, right, on the heat map, you can see that I'll just try to visualize this for you guys. There's a lot of support between 37k and 36k, and you can see that there just so happens to be a low over there, and if you get taken out, you're probably going to find support somewhere about there. And if you go onto the 2-hourly chart, let's see if we can find some kind of support on the session POCs, and you can see that comes at about 35,300. So I'm not going to expect that to get hit. What I'm expecting to get hit is perch below that low, right? You perch that low and hopefully find some kind of support before you hit 36k. So in this instance, if you check out the 2-hourly chart, you can see that you have some sort of an order block over here at 36k to about 36,300. So that's the level that I'm going to be watching in order to go long, right? Not to say that you just immediately set a limit here, but that's a level that I'm going to be watching. So to everyone, hopefully that clears up a little bit of why I was spending 10 minutes explaining all that stuff about, Friday's high and low and stuff. And hopefully that helps you guys. And as for what I think is actually going to, as for what I think is going to happen during the week, which level are we going to reach for? I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. Let me just explain one other little thing. More importantly, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at _theartofcrypto, you're going to want to do so. This is where not only I'm sharing, trade ideas, but, just stuff like, this stuff, false move Monday, mid-rig reversal, stuff like that. Definitely check it out. I promise it will not be a wasted effort. So there was one other thing that I was planning. Yeah, right. The level 1, 2, 3 formation. So oftentimes what you'll find in many charts is you tend to have level 1, level 2, level 3, something like that. Right? You tend to have this kind of a formation before the next move upwards, right? Something like that. So currently you can see, pretty much we've been following this to a T. I'll talk about this quite a few times already on my YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. And speaking about my YouTube channel, right, recently I posted a video about hyperinflation. That video is gold. Okay, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I put in a lot of effort to try to give you guys a very accurate explanation, a very in-depth explanation on how hyperinflation affects the markets, not just the traditional markets, but crypto as well. If you haven't already watched that video, I highly recommend you check it out after the stream. I promise it's not going to be a waste of time. For those of you on, for those of you who are on YouTube right now, just comment down in the live chat if you've watched that video already, and let me know if that video is good, because from what I can gather so far, the people who've watched it have absolutely loved it, and it has been really helpful. So it is not getting many views. I would assume it's because it's a 50-minute video. But it is a 50-minute video for a reason. There is a lot of info jam-packed into that video. It's not a lot of fluff. Check it out, okay? Let me just go through a little bit of the comments. Yeah, that video is wicked. Thank you for the comments. I hope it's not just to, make me feel better because it's not getting any views. But do you have whale friend? Your prediction is mostly correct. I wouldn't say so. A lot of the things that you see in the markets just comes with experience, right? Once you've witnessed enough days in the market, once you've spent, that theory about how you master a skill after 10,000 hours. Don't know if I have 10,000 hours in the markets. I'm pretty sure I don't, but it doesn't change the fact that once you understand, once you've witnessed enough things, you tend to get familiar with the happenings of the market, and you realize that it is pretty repeatable. It's something that repeats itself, basically. So, moving on, I told you guys just now to, like, I'll give you guys a target for where we would head during the week, assuming that we're going to, go straight up after the false move. So remember, don't get caught up by the false move. I think the first level that we're going to reach for is about 50,000. Not only do you have like a daily order block over here, right? If you just narrow that down, that's about 50,000. It starts at about 50,000. But besides that, you have, it's about time you break out of this range. You have just one, 2, 3 points of liquidity that you can take out. Maybe let's not count it as 3. Let's count it as 2, right? You have relatively equal highs over here, which means there is a buildup of liquidity up above this level. That is going to be the catalyst that allows Bitcoin to break out of this range that it's been in for basically a month or two now at this point. So do I think we're going to go to 50k by March, by the end of March? Yeah, that is currently my sort of thought process. And for that to happen, you have to clear out a little bit of liquidity down low. So that's going to go to 37 to 36k. And then you're going to make a push for 50,000 before the end of March. That is currently my opinion. And once you hit 50,000, expect some kind of a rejection for sure. But overall, I just have to tell you guys again, just daily reminder, you are in range high. You're in a range low right now, right? If I zoom out, take a look at this. It's beautiful, right? This block over here, I've been talking about this block for months. Ever since you broke out of this, I've been saying, hey, Bitcoin's going to find a bottom in this block. I've been talking about it for the better part of the last 6 months. Right now, we are at the range low. Check it out, right? Range low. And then you have your range high. There is no reason for you to be getting bearish at these levels. You get bearish over here, not down here. Capiche? Besides that, when you bring up the... just a way to visualize it for you guys. Check out the mean reversion channels. Beautiful, right? Like almost every single instance where we have touched the bottom band, we have made a push to the upper band, right? Assuming that's the case, you're definitely going to make a push for a new all-time high. If not this year, then next year. So definitely do not write Bitcoin off, especially at this point. And there are so many altcoins right now that are at range lows. For example, on Twitter, I said that Waves was going to do exceptionally well. Since the post that I made on Waves, it has done a 2x. Similar theory. Okay, actually, this one might not be the best sort of visualization for this. So I'm going to look for another coin that might be a better representation of what I'm talking about. Definitely not AVAX. Yeah, FTM. So check out FTM, right? Similar setup to Bitcoin. The only thing is it failed to make a higher high over here before it started retracing. But that's, like, we're not going to fault FTM for that. So check it out. Range low, range high. Buy at the range low, sell at the range high. It's pretty much as simple as you can get trading to be. And do I think it's going to break out of the range high? Absolutely, right? If you draw, let's say, a fib from that range, that swing high over there to that swing low, you can see that, a $5 FTM might be very, very possible. So just stuff like that just makes trading, simplifies trading, basically. It doesn't need to be hard, A lot of charts on alts. So somebody asked, right, don't you think that a lot of charts on alts look really ugly? Half and half, right? You have half that look absolutely amazing, and you have half that look kind of terrible. Part of the joy of trading is to be able to identify which ones are the good ones and which ones are the crap ones, so that you can filter them out. Can you give us your thoughts on the potential heads and shoulders forming on the hourly? It plays into sweeping Friday's low too. Yeah, sure, of course. Let me just take a look. I wasn't even paying attention to the 1 hourly chart. But yeah, basically, it just ties back to that level 3 formation that I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, right? Back into sweeping Friday's low, and then the true move will show itself, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, somewhere about there, and then real direction, something like that. I'm going with that, right? Just based on my experience, that's something that wouldn't be unreasonable. Anyways, that covers my sort of analysis for Bitcoin and what I think is going to happen heading into next week. So it would be great if you guys could shoot me questions, right? I'll try to answer questions on this stream. I want this to be more of a Q&A type stream. And if there's no questions, then I'm just going to go through the coins that I have in my watch list, and I'm just going to try to figure out what coins are going to be good heading into March, or just heading into the next 3 weeks. So you go ahead and shoot me questions, boys. How do you add liquidity levels on TradingView? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I would assume you mean the session the session volumes, right? The session POCs and internet's lagging. Fun times. I assume you mean this one. So that one is called VPSV, right? Volume profile session volume. That's how you get that. Get the session volume basically. And for me, I usually like to keep it on the lower time frames, no higher than 2 hours, because I find out when I get onto the daily, you know, everything just becomes muddled because the session volume calculates it on a daily basis. You don't want, it just looks weird on the daily. So I usually keep it on a lower time frame, usually the 1 hourly, usually the 2 hourly. That, you know, for example, if I identify an entry on the 4 hourly, then I'm just going to dive lower into the 2 or the 1 hourly to get a better entry, or to find a more zoomed in area for me to set my stop. That's pretty much how I use session volume. Nice to see you live, Stacy. Nice to see that you are here as well. Best alts to look at while we're at the range low. I'm going to get into that in a bit. Just let me, you know, answer a few questions, and then we'll try to figure out what's the best coins heading into March. Hey, I am a 16-year-old kid and I love crypto and I wanted to get in contact with you. How do I do that? Because you don't seem to look at Twitter. Oh, I actually look at Twitter. Just not the DMs. So I'll go check my Twitter DMs later. For those of you who are texting me on Twitter, I do apologize because I don't look at the DMs on Twitter. So yeah, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just I don't look at DMs, but I will remember to look at DMs. Can you hit the like button? Oh yeah, guys. Hit the like button if you appreciate what you are seeing so far. It's a small gesture, but it really helps out a lot with the video and the stream. Just a little way to show, you know, to give a little bit of appreciation for the stream. Solve is technically at a range low as well. Solve is technically at a range low as well. Yep. Oh yeah, boy. Oh yeah. Man, this thing really broke all the accumulation zones, yeah? Oh, that's not pretty, but I don't want to see it break below all-time lows, you know, as much as I think that this is a fundamentally good coin. Breaking below the all-time low is just a no-no. You know, firstly, I would really want to see this break above 0.09. If it can break that, you know, that's a previous daily swing high. It means that things are finally reversing. You retrace back into an order block. That's when you start reversing, you know, and going to take out previous liquidity up here. So that's the first thing I would want to look for. But if it goes into negative price discovery, right, remember to set your stop loss near that area. As much as I hate to, you know, realize a big loss, or in this case, a decently sized loss. Negative price discovery is never worth it. Just word of advice: always set a stop loss at below the all-time lows of all coins. You do not want to sit through negative price discovery. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, breaking below the all-time low is a sign of negative price discovery. Just like how when you break above all-time highs, then you're in positive price discovery, and that usually lasts for very long, right? I don't know if you guys realize, but for example, I'm gonna go into, somebody mentioned about AVAX recently. On Twitter, am I underscore the art of crypto, or am I at the art of crypto underscore? I am underscore first art of crypto. I will hopefully look to get a blue tick, but apparently you need to be really famous or like some kind of authority in your space. I'm not that yet, but I will look into getting one of those. But I am definitely not the art of crypto underscore. Yeah, I'm not this guy. I'm the one with the oh wow. So there's someone else with the same name as me. Not bad. Oh, but he's clearly not posted anything for the last 3-4 years. Yeah, no, I'm not this guy. I'm this guy. Look for the ON1. That's me. Anyways, what was I talking about? Yeah, AVAX. Once you break above previous all-time high, you go into price discovery, right? This is positive price discovery. Look at how long that lasted. Pretty much for the better part of 6 months, right? And same thing goes for negative price discovery. I'm going to get into one that sadly is in negative price discovery right now. So check it out. Imagine if you didn't put a stop loss below the all-time low at 19, you'd be in negative price discovery. And it is showing no sign of coming back above negative price discovery. And I am a big fan of SPI, but fact of the matter is if you break below all-time lows, it ain't fun. So always set a stop at the previous all-time low. You do not want to sit through. Like, just because something drops by 90% doesn't mean they cannot drop another 90% from that point on. So remember that, yeah? Okay, so somebody mentioned on Kylan that I'm not so bullish on the coin anymore because it's been going through some changes. What I want you to do is go over to the private Discord and check out under fundamental analysis, Rabbi, right? Look for this guy called Rabbi. He did a very in-depth analysis on why he thinks, whatchamacallit, Kylan is not going to be performing that well. So head over to the fundamental analysis channel and check that out. What do I think? How do you think DXY potentially crossing 100 affects BTC price? So let's take a look. For starters, it's looking. For starters, I talked about 97.7 for very long, like pretty much back in August. We've hit that target now, and it is honestly looking bullish. As to how I think this is going to affect BTC price, short term is definitely going to be negative because DXY is inversely correlated with Bitcoin, right? When DXY is pumping, Bitcoin tends to be going down, and if Bitcoin tends to be going down, so does the rest of crypto. And there is a very fundamental reason for that. Imagine if the US dollar was gaining in value, right? Firstly, many things are compared against the USD. If USD gains value, it would make sense that the coin itself will lose value. So that's a very simplistic way of explaining things, but a more detailed answer would be the fact that when the dollar is rising, when the strength of the dollar is rising, it becomes much more feasible for investors to put their money into government bonds and to put it into the dollar, right? To invest in the dollar, basically. And when that happens, clearly that money has to come from somewhere. Usually, when the dollar is going up, investors tend to not take on so much of a risk appetite. And seeing how crypto is the riskiest of risky assets, that's sort of a reason why crypto is inversely correlated with the DXY. So we don't want DXY to be going up, right? We want the USD to just crash and burn so that we can all use crypto and start using Bitcoin to buy Starbucks coffee. Sadly, that's not how it's playing out right now. Although, I think short term, this could be bearish. But remember, what goes up tends to need to come down, right? Just like how you perched liquidity up here and then you reverted. When you perch liquidity up here, you're probably going to revert as well. So midterm could be very bullish for Bitcoin, but of course, the moment you put it onto a weekly chart, you start to see that DXY might look to go much, much, much higher than simply 100 points. Are we going to get there? Yeah, I think there's a very good chance that we do over the next few years, or maybe over the next couple of years. Heck, maybe in the next 12 months, because macroeconomically, we are not looking very. Yeah, we're not looking hot, right? Seems to me that a market recession is bound to come. In fact, it could already be happening, for all we know. Currently, it's still hard to tell. But short-term bearish, mid-term I'd say bullish, but more importantly, I don't think we should be jumping to make conclusions until that level is hit. But currently, I do think some kind of liquidity purge and revert is going to be in effect. So that's what I'm banking on, saying that it is bullish for crypto in the midterm. But long-term wise, we really need to see how it develops before we can make any conclusions. I only started to make my prediction about DXY hitting 97.7 when it broke structure, right? When it broke market structure. So I think it was over here. So I started talking about this like sometime during June. That's how I knew like it was going to make a move for 97.7, which is why I kept a lot of my US dollars in US dollars. I did not change US dollars into something else. And this is something else that, this is a sort of fun little application for knowing how to trade. Because once you know how to trade, you can apply this across many, many different charts and many, many different, disciplines and applications. For instance, I use DXY knowing that it's going to go up in value or go up in strength, and I held on for my USD, which basically gained about 10%, 5%, right? Let's just call it 5% over the last few months, which is not a lot for us people who are dabbling in crypto, but does not change the fact that I have one, saved money, and number two, I have printed more money if I do convert the USD into something else, like the Great British Pound, for example. Again, this is just another application of trading where when you understand how the markets move, right, there's so many things that you can apply it to, and that's why I love this. Rounded bottoms pays the bills, exactly. Gold is extremely bullish. I would tend to agree. Honestly, so bullish, right? I'm seeing gold. It's going to make like a big push. It's going to make a big push for a new all-time high, much in the way that crypto would. So for all of you traditional investors out there, this is bullish, really bullish. Like if you pair this pattern, this weekly cup and handle on gold, if you pair this technical pattern with what is happening fundamentally in the entire markets right now, and I'm talking about macroeconomics, right? The fact that a recession is coming, the fact that people are going to want to start parking their money in something safer, that is something that is not as uncertain as something like crypto. And you talk about inflation, hyperinflation possibly hitting. And again, if you haven't watched that video that I made about hyperinflation, you're going to want to do so. Like it's gold. I didn't actually mean that to be a pun, but Yeah, it's gold. Check it out. I would say it's going to be really helpful for a lot of you who are watching it. So, you pair that with macroeconomics, you pair that with the fact that inflation is going to get much higher in the next few, years, then you could easily see gold make a push for 3K. Not saying that's absolutely going to happen, but if you wanted somewhere to park your money in hyper uncertain economic times, gold, man, gold, super bullish. Honestly, now is as good of a time as any to get into gold. Just look at this, right? You can't tell me this is not bullish. Right. What do I think about e-gold? I like where this is going, guys. First gold, now e-gold. What's going to be next? BTC gold, or like Ethereum gold. What do I think about the e-gold chart? Let's take a look here. I would say that you haven't exactly reached a key level in terms of the macro scale. So if I draw this blue box right here, you can see what I mean. This is like a zone of... So basically, you have a fair value gap during this entire time where you have a lack of price action down here. So it would make sense that the market makers would want to bring this down to rebalance things, to mitigate their positions. And man, I still remember this trade like it was yesterday. I made a call on e-gold at $65 back then, right? 65, or was it 68? Either one of them. And I said my first TP would be $500. It took a fair bit of time, but that's one of the better trades that I pulled off last year. Absolutely beautiful. Never once came back to entry. And it's about time we make more of those entries, to those of you who are in the private Discord group who are watching. But anyways, not to toot my own horn here. Yeah, I think until you go back to the $100 range, you don't really want to pay too much attention to e-gold. So I just had an alert ring. For those of you following me on Twitter, I'm not sure if I posted this on Twitter, but this is a coin that I might be interested in. It's called WRX. This looks extremely beautiful on a macro scale. Let me just put this into perspective for you guys. Firstly, you have, let me just go back onto the daily actually. When you go back onto the daily, you can see that you have a nice trend line running down there. You're heading back into a zone, like a very key zone on the high time frame, which is the daily chart in the form of here, right? You notice how you just filled in imbalance, and now if you zoom in even more, you can see that you just broke out of this mini trend line, and you're currently trying to find support on that trend line, and I think this is looking extremely bullish. This reminds me of a coin that I called, sadly I did not follow through on it, which is Dusk, right? Trend line, breakout, retest, bam. Currently, WRX looks just similar, beautiful. So I'm looking for an entry on WRX, to put it simply. Ideally, I want 0.6 or 0.59, where was it? 0.5, yeah, 0.6, give or take around that level. right? 0.6, and my target is going to be, the first target would definitely be 0.852, which would give you a target of about 40%. But beautiful coin. For those of you who are watching, mark this down on your own chart. Beautiful, beautiful coin. Can I look into Mana and SLP? Sure. Mana, I preferably still wanted to hit that level, that blue box right there, but otherwise, I could see a argument for saying that this is the range high, that is the range low. So when it comes back to the range low, that is when you buy, and then you target the next high over there. Currently, that is what I think of Mana. So now that I've done that analysis, I'm going to place a couple of alerts so that, and by the way, for those of you watching, I cannot do what I do without using alerts. For those of you who have any sort of paid TradingView plan, please, please, please utilize what is available to you, which is alerts. There is no way I can do what I do, keeping track of so many coins and so many charts without alerts. That is one of the primary reasons why I have premium, but you do not need premium. But at least if you're on a pro plan or a pro plus plan, take advantage of these alerts, right? Nobody can keep track of like 20 different coins at the same time. You're going to need alerts to do so. But otherwise, Mana, this is currently my thoughts. As for SLP, the last time I checked that, it was in some kind of negative price discovery. Still is in some kind of negative price discovery. Yeah, I don't know, man. You broke structure already, so assuming that is the case, when you come back into this block right here, which starts at about 0.13, give or take, that's when you get involved in SLP, right? You look for a higher low to form here, and then it's going to break this previous high and target that previous high right there. Just to put it into perspective, that's the previous high I'm talking about, and you're going to break this previous high. So you want to look for a high low to form about there, and that's you take it from there. But currently, yeah, just remember that SLP is a shitcoin that is hyperinflationary. As long as you're aware of that, that's beautiful. Do I see XRP pumping if they settle or win the lawsuit? Honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. I don't really follow XRP. I have always felt that this is a stable coin for most of its trading life. I don't really follow this. I don't really follow the lawsuit. But what I can tell you is technically it looks very sound. You've just filled in imbalance at that block right there. The next feasible range high is over there. So do I think it's, and on the plus side, you're getting a falling wedge over here, heading back into support. I think it looks bullish, right? I think it looks bullish, right? Forget the lawsuit, forget anything else, right? You always pay attention to the charts first, because a lot of people might blame, let's say, I believe it was last Wednesday, which is the day where I crashed my car. For those of you who didn't know, I've been inactive for a couple of days because I crashed my car pretty badly as well. Going to have to end up liquidating the car, most probably. But anyways, turns out that during the day that I was out of commission, there was some attack on a nuclear plant in Europe or something by you know which country, and people were like, "Hey, Bitcoin went down because of that piece of news." No, Bitcoin went down because the high of the week forms on Wednesday, and you're going to go down to take out, to mitigate positions. That's why it went down. News is just sort of a catalyst, something for people to put the blame on, right? Something sort of like a rationalization. So that's, forget the lawsuit. I know the lawsuit might be important, but I frankly I cannot speak about that because I don't follow it. But the chart tells you, oftentimes it tells you what you need to know. Currently, this is looking extremely bullish. I would even go so far as to say that you could see a $1 XRP pretty soon, and you can see a $1.3 XRP sometime in the midterm, probably 2 to 3 months. That is what I think of XRP at the moment, and I'd say if you break above that range high at 1.3, you can very much make a push for like 1.66. Now, for those of you in the private Discord group, we caught like the perfect bottom over here at 0.63, and I would hold on to that if anybody bought XRP near this block or within this block. If you watch my videos, you understand order blocks, and if you have utilized order blocks to place entries, you will have gotten this entry right there. I would keep that open for a while. Unless BTC just absolutely nukes, you're probably not going to go back to that entry. And if anything, you're probably going to pump way higher than that entry. So this is going to be like a swing trade for anybody who gets it. A swing trade to a long-term trade, basically. You have a very good potential of just 3x to 4xing your money if you've got that entry. So I'm just going to keep that open for now. But a 2x is definitely in the books. Yeah, guys. I'm fine. Thank you, everyone, for asking. The car's not all right, but thankfully I got out pretty safe, which I'm really grateful, because the car is absolutely destroyed. I got out with a neck injury from whiplash. I got out with a sprained ankle, and I sprained my finger, but and a few cuts. But other than that, I'm just grateful to be alive. And I'm definitely not going to be driving anytime soon. And that's for sure. But yeah, otherwise I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Erwin, I will make sure to check Twitter DMs. You don't worry about it. HTR is looking good. I just need some time. IMO. Let's check it out. Oh yeah. Yeah, I really like this. Yeah, it's just a typical, it's just a classic range low, range high, although the range low and range highs are not the most, like well clearly defined, if you know what I mean. Let me just bring up the VPVRs just so we can visualize this a little bit better. Okay, so bringing up the VPVR, yeah, most volume was occurring around this block right there, and of course you can see that the range high is over there. So yeah, this is classic range low, range high sort of setup. Very bullish, very bullish. I'm gonna leave it to you to come up with an entry for that one. That's gonna be a fun little task that you can undertake, Ridge. But if you need help, let me know. Personally, I think this looks good as well. Very good. Like, very good. Oh, wow. Actually, hold up. Woo. Yeah, this is very beautiful. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to this one because my brain is kind of fried from streaming and talking for about 50 minutes at this point. So I'm gonna get back to this when I'm feeling a little bit more refreshed. But to support to encourage you people who are in HDR, it's looking absolutely amazing. Somebody mentioned KDA. Yeah, KDA and HDR. Like, I love these coins, especially KDA. I think it's one of the biggest bags that I built over the last 4 months. That along with PYR, ILV, and no, actually, I think it's just these 3 coins. I forgot what other coins I built a bag of, but definitely these 3 are definitely up there. I want to get onto your stream, but right now I'm stuck in the hospital. Oh shit. I wish you well, man. Hope it's not because of the car crash you got into lately, but I wish you very, very well. I hope you get well soon. Can I take a look at Harmony 1? Mate, there is someone literally named Harmony Wolf in the Discord. Go drop him a tag. He would love to talk about Harmony, my friend. He talks about Harmony like 20 times a day. Drop him a tag. I'm sure he would be happy to talk about Harmony with you. Why is day trading so hard? It's very hard to manage risk. Well, that's the only hard part, really. Just managing risk, understanding that this is a long game. You're not supposed to get rich like instantly. Once you understand the long game, then you start managing your risk. You take 1% risk per trade. You're pretty much not going to blow up your account ever. That's how you succeed over the long term, right? And I blew up my account like 3 to 4 times back when I first started. So, that was before I really prioritized risk management, and ever since then, turning point really for me came when I started to really be disciplined about my risk. So as long as you manage risk, you're going to be fine. Keep it to 1%, 2% tops per trade. I'm sure things will start turning for you as well. Trading strategy is simple. It's not difficult. Risk management and managing your emotions, which is the psychology of trading, that's really the part where people really get wrecked. It's not really much about a trading strategy because there's only so many trading strategies out there that work. I mean, there's 991 ways to make money, and you can be profitable with any trading strategy, assuming that you have good emotional management and good risk management. As long as you have both of those, right, trading really, like the strategy itself pretty much plays just 10% or 20% of the role in a successful trading career. So just keep that in mind. 1% of your entire portfolio, yeah, or your trading portfolio. So I tend to split mine up into 2. So I have about 60 to 70% sitting in spot as investments, like dollar cost averaging. And again, I made a video about dollar cost averaging. It comes in the hyperinflation video, that 50-minute video that I talked about. It comes in there. Check that one out. But yeah, I keep about 60 to 70% in spot. I just regularly invest into that because I believe crypto is going to be the future. So I save about 30% of my portfolio in USDT pretty much at all times. So that is my trading portfolio. So 1% of 30% basically. It's a very slow way of gaining money, but at least I don't lose money. Even when I do lose, it's negligible. And more importantly, when you take trades that have sort of like 5 to 1, 8 to 1, 12 to 1, 20 to 1 risk to reward ratio, it doesn't take long before it starts to add up. Remember that risk to reward ratio is the key It's not the percentage gain, like, oh, I made 50% on this coin, but how much did you risk? That's the risk to reward ratio. How much of a reward can you get for that proportionate amount of risk? That's what matters. That's the true sort of gauge of a good trader's performance, if I could say it like that. By the way, if you guys enjoy all the knowledge that's been shared in the stream, please like the video, like the stream, and share it to a friend that you think this might be helpful to. Because other than the coins that I talked about, I'm sure I've shared a lot of just fundamental knowledge about trading and the markets. So small gesture, but really helps out a lot. My friend lost 90% trading SLP. What should you suggest him? Suggest him to not be so overly optimistic about a hyper risky asset. Crypto is a hyper risky asset for all intensive purposes. It can go to zero. It can go to zero basically anytime, because it's so unproven, right? It doesn't even have, like, the oldest cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin, doesn't even have like it probably has like a 10-year trading history. And don't even get me started on all the other altcoins, right? They have most altcoins have probably less than 5 to 6 year trading history. That is not very good historical activity. And it definitely does not prove that something is going to stick around for long. So tell your friend next time, please manage your risk, have a plan. You don't just buy a coin and pray it goes up. If it goes down, you think, oh, I'm a hodler. It's going to go back up, as long as I don't realize the loss, it's not a loss. You can have that mindset in the traditional markets. By all means, do that with the stock market. Something that has been proven to be profitable over time, over like 150 year sort of history. Do that with the stock market. You couple that with the fact that, the stock market is a collection of companies that are actually doing something of value in this world. They are, they're producing goods, they're making sales, they're helping the economy. There is tangible results that these companies are getting. So you hodl that. Meanwhile, with a shitcoin like SLP, you hold that 90% down. It's a mistake for sure. But you learn from your mistakes. You move on. 90% down. Honestly, what he does right now is up to him. There is no piece of advice that I can give, because then it would be considered financial advice. But what I would say is, next time, just pay attention to what I just said, which is the fact that crypto can lose 99.99% of its value quick. And there's nothing stopping it from losing that much value, because it is ultimately unproven. It does not generate any real sort of value in this world. Of course it does, right? Of course it does. I understand, right? I'm a crypto maxi as well. I understand, but don't get me wrong. It is still unproven when compared to many, 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 many other traditional assets. So have a plan, right? Have a stop loss. Have a hard stop loss. And manage your risk. Him losing 90% of SLP, that really doesn't matter. For example, I have like 0.1 or 0.05% of my account dedicated to SLP. It might have lost a lot of its value, but ultimately it doesn't really affect my account much. You know what I mean? It's the power of that's the power of diversification, especially when it comes to shitcoins. Do not carry too much risk. It's ultimately how the best investors in this world make it. They have good diversification. They have very good risk management. And they always rebalance their portfolio, right? You don't see whales, right? People who are working with hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. You do not see them, oh, I like this coin, I'm going to put in 5 billion and let's pray it goes up. You don't see them doing that. What you see them do instead, if they have a 100 million account, they'll probably put in 500 grand every time. Maybe they would put in 1 million every time they dollar cost average into a coin. You rarely see them put a large percentage of their account into one thing, which for most of you guys, you would think, hey, how am I going to make money like that? If you think like that, you are probably going to get wrecked. Let's just say that. Again, markets are brutal. Crypto is already a very fast way for you to make money, which is even more reason why you should be managing your risk, right? The higher the risk, the higher the reward. But remember, it's very high risk. You could lose it all in an instant if you do not practice risk management. So if there's one thing you take away from this stream, please manage your risk. It is the one thing that is going to ensure that you stay alive the next day. This is not something you use to just get rich quick. And if you appreciate that bit of advice, please like the video. BTC 69420, thank you for the $3 donation. I appreciate it. Shiba. You really want me to talk about Shiba? Honestly, this reminds me of a coin that I just looked at. What was it already? That coin that had this accumulation zone. Honestly, yeah, as much as I would hate to admit it, I think Shiba looks pretty good. Forgot what coin that was. I set an alert, but I already forgot. But fuck it. Yeah, that's the one right there. Yeah, I think it looks good, right? You could probably take advantage of this trade, something like that. Targeting there, right there, right? Could that be possible? Absolutely. Will I trade this coin? Probably not. But there you go. That's what I think of Shiba. For coins that you are looking at for trades, do you look at the fundamental side of the coin like WRX? No, usually no. If I'm looking to invest in a coin, then I will look at the fundamentals, but trading, no. Usually technicals tell me everything that I need to know about how the coin is going to perform in the short to mid term, which is usually most of my trades. It usually lasts between a few days to a few weeks to a few months. Technicals get that done for me. Fundamentally, I look at that when I'm thinking about adding a coin to my dollar cost average list. That answers your question. Ren has equal daily lows and is in an accumulation zone. Actually, before I go, let me just add an alert on Shiba. Ren, right. Equal daily lows. Do I think that we could sweep that? I'd say it's a possibility. For sure. I'd say that's a possibility, but we might not sweep that for a while. Because notice how, like, every time you get equal lows, bam, 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 right there. I'll just illustrate this for you. You get equal lows over there, there. You know, you don't really sweep it that often. And clearly we are in a different sort of situation compared to... Oh, sorry for the burp. I'm drinking San Pellegrino sparkling water. So before drinking sparkling water, I drank some kombucha. So it's really gassy stuff. But anyways, we're in a different situation compared to the May crash of 2021, where we were getting definitely a Wyckoff accumulation. This time is a little bit different. Do I think we will sweep the lows before moving upwards? I don't think it's necessary, but could it be possible? Yeah. And the reason why I think it might not be necessary and we might not get that for a few months is because of the fact that you broke above a previous daily high. Because of that, I would be more inclined to believe that it will find some kind of support at the super trend on the daily. Set a stop there, which is still about 20%. Wow, okay. Definitely going to have to zoom in on that one. And you can get a trade, something like that. Which I will right now set a couple of alerts so that I can get notified. in case it happens. But hopefully that answers your question. Any thoughts on Bico? I have never heard of that coin, but I will check it out. Nope. Negative price discovery, not pretty. My thoughts on this coin is stay away for now. Until you get a break of structure on the daily, which would come here or there. 1.7. Before it breaks 1.7, do not even look at this coin. You're in the private Discord group, so go to my channel and search negative prices. Or just search the words price discovery. I talk a lot about how to deal with coins that are in negative price discovery, or just price discovery. Market down, BNX up like waves. Oh yeah, boy. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. That is actually very beautiful. I would expect some kind of a rejection over here at this range high, because once you purge it, you're probably going to go down a notch or two. That's what I think. Definitely setting an alert for this one. But some kind of purge. Back down before moving up. Especially with such an explosive move. Probably something like that. Something like that. And remember to follow me on Twitter, yeah? While you guys type out questions, I'm going to head to the washroom for a bit. I'll be right back. Gonna follow right now on Twitter, not the washroom, mate. Yeah, I wouldn't appreciate you following me to the washroom as well. Anyways, I think I do not see much more questions, and oh, one more video of detecting order blocks could be nice. I'm having difficulties even though I watch your videos. Yeah, sure. I will make that soon. Your feedback has been heard, my friend. And yes, I will check Twitter. You should analyze K3PR. Yeah, that's actually in one of my active trades. K3PR. Wow, what the hell? Whoa, that is a hard drop. 400. Set an alert at 400. That's going to be an area of interest where you can pick up some K3PR. Just check out that block over there. That's what I mean by set an alert there. It's going to be very likely to be the bottom, so just set an alert. And you should be Gucci, because same thing here, you have a range high, that is your range low, wabam. Ideally, you would have wanted to see it bounce over here, but clearly that did not happen, so clearly it's reaching for some lower level. Or it could just bounce from here because you just took out the lows. So with this kind of drop, you really have to pay attention to whether or not there is some kind of news event happening, because you don't just get these kinds of a drop out of nowhere, especially when Bitcoin is pretty stable. So check the news, whether or not, the team has like scammed people or something. But if it's not news related, you could go for a long at this point right here, because you just cleared out the liquidity here. It would make sense if it were to bounce right now. And your target would be the fair value gap, so 13%. That's the fair value gap right there. So that's what I think. But otherwise, 400, that's the key level. Anyways, this stream has been going on for about an hour and 10 minutes so far. I'm probably going to end it here. Remember to check out the hyperinflation video, and more importantly, which is really key, thank you guys so much for spending an hour with me on a weekend where you could be hanging out with your family, taking a break, doing holiday stuff, but you chose to, spend that time with me. I cannot overstate how humbled I am by this. So seriously, thank you. Without you guys, I cannot do what I do. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending time with me during a Sunday. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And, trade safe. Remember what I said in the beginning about the weekend range and what Bitcoin's going to do. And, trade safe. May the gains be with you, my friends.